just met him that day.
Hey everybody.
He had offered.
I was just watching CNN, of course. The first thing I'll talk about is, I'm sure if you have not heard this story by now, then you must be living under a rock. And if this keeps up, you might want to find a rock to get under. If all the dead birds keep falling out of the sky. In Arkansas, over 5,000 red-winged blackbirds have just dropped from the sky. And at the same time, they have had over 100,000 dead drumfish, also in Arkansas, and all this within a 1 mile span. Several theories on the, but before I get to the theories, they've also found over 500 dead birds in, I think, Louisiana. I think they border each other. And then Stephanie was telling me something today about they've started finding dead birds in Kentucky. All these states, I think, border each other. Several theories on that. They've had a theory of there was fireworks. It was New Year's Eve. There was fireworks that might have startled the birds. Hailstorms might have killed the birds. See, they're always focusing on the birds. They're not saying anything about why over 100,000 dead fish. You got death in the air and in the water. So I think they need to determine what died first. Did the birds die first and fall to the earth? Or did the fish die first and then the birds died? It could be possible that the birds drank from the water where the fish died in. What's in the water? But there are several theories. Some are just out and out stupid. And only one, I believe. The stupid ones are, one of them, somebody had made the theory of maybe, because the birds can't see, or either can't see well. And you know how you see birds, flying in a flock, they're all flying together. One follows the other, but they said maybe the birds were all asleep and they were startled by the fireworks, and then they just took off flying, but were flying in the wrong direction, and knowing that they follow suit, all just followed each other, and they flew downwards and crashed into the earth and died. And I don't really believe that, because it's not in a bird's nature to fly downward. If they can't see, then they're going to have something to make up for their being blind. And so, excuse me just 1 second. Anyway, another theory is, this is the one that I tend to believe, is that somebody had made the theory that methane gas leaked from the river and went up. The birds flew through the methane gas and dropped dead to the earth. Methane gas could have killed the fish, and the birds could have flown through it and it killed them, but I don't think it's strong enough to kill humans. Methane gas only leaks from the earth right before an earthquake. So if that's the case, that's not good, because that means there's methane gas in Arkansas, Louisiana, and Kentucky. There's going to be, if that's the case, there's going to be a big earthquake. So that's not good. One man had a theory, and this is just the dumbest theory I have ever heard. He said it could have been natural causes. Let's see. 5,000 blackbirds in one state, over 500 in another state, and over 100,000 fish all dropped dead at the same time, literally dropped dead from natural causes. No. Another story in the news, and this is by far the scariest thing I have heard in a long time. And they're not saying much about it. I just heard a little bit about it, so I don't have all the details. And once I do get the details, you can be sure you will see me back here. Apparently, this man invited his family members to his home for a New Year's Eve dinner. And amongst those, I'm not sure who all was amongst them, but I do know amongst them was his mother, uh, his nephew, his nephew's fiance, excuse me, and, some more people. And he waited for all of them to gather at his house because he said New Year's Eve was the perfect time because he knew they would come. And they all gathered around the table. And that's when he came into the room. And when he came into the room, he immediately began dousing all of his guests with gasoline. And then, of course, that's going to make people scatter. But he had a blowtorch. He doused them with gasoline and set everybody on fire with a blowtorch. A blowtorch, you just push the thing and the flame goes away. It's basically like a flamethrower. And I believe everybody died. They did say amongst the dead was his mother, so his mother died. I think the only one that lived, I believe, from what I can understand, now, like I said, I don't have all the details because I just heard bits and pieces. But the nephew's fiance is in a burn center. So she lived. If something like that was to happen, that's a hard call. I think I would almost rather have died because that must be one of the worst things that you could ever go through is burn. Because infection, your skin is going to come off. You're going to be in the hospital for months and months, maybe a year. They have to change your bandages. It must be excruciatingly painful. Not only all that, but then the memories of having to live with what happened. It's going to be followed by nightmares. I don't know if I could take that. I mean, it's making me cringe just sitting here talking about it. Also in the news, a 10-year-old boy shot his mom in the back of the head and killed her. They said that they found 3 guns in his room. 2 of them were loaded. And he was 10 years old. What is the world coming to? I mean, I've got 2 guns in my house now, but my guns are not loaded. They are not loaded. And my husband would take the ammunition and put it up. And because we never kept them loaded. And to this day, I'm really not sure what he did with that ammunition, but I've not come across it. And he died 8 years ago. I don't know what he did with those bullets. They might be in the... I have an idea where they're at. I'm not going to tell anybody out there in case they come looking for it. You never know. Strange things happen. But, however, today is January the 5th. We have a 60% chance of snow flurries tonight. They're calling for flurries, and this is what they say. It's not going to amount to anything. They said that the last 2 times, and that just turned out not to be the case. It was not true at all. It amounted to something all right. They said that this was the coldest, snowiest December in Greensboro since 1975, I think. And honestly, with as much snow as we've had already this year and last year's snow total shocked me. Because out here in North Carolina, sometimes you could go several winters and never see any snow. And then basically the norm used to be when it would snow, we would just have that, just flurries. It might cover the grass and everything, when I'm at work, and by the end of the day, it's gone. So, it's never really amounted to much. We usually have more ice storms when we generally have a storm, but, we haven't had an ice storm this year, and it's about time for one. It truly is about time for one. I remember when we had an ice storm, I think the last real bad ice storms that we did have was in 2002 and 2003. We've had some small ones since then, but nothing major like we had back then. They used to get really, really, really bad, but we've not had anything real major. Anyway, I'm just babbling and running off the mouth. So I'm going to go and answer my text. The kids tell me I'm worse than a teenage girl because I'd rather text than talk. And I text all the time. I know when Joe come down here and got some spyware off of my computer, and I was trying to talk to him while he was trying to get the spyware off. He said, "Don't you have somebody to text?" So, yeah, I'm a text freak. Anyway, that's going to be it for now. And if I hear anything else on the man who used the blowtorch on his family, I will be back. And until next time, bye-bye.